I am back with episode number 52. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is the Eyes Wide Open podcast. If you're not sure where you're clicked into, welcome. I am your host, Kiah, or Vonkiah, as you guys may have seen me throughout my social media feeds if this is how you have landed yourself here. Hi, hello. If you can see me because you're watching on YouTube, hey. And if you can't see me because you're listening audibly, hello to you too. I hope that everybody's having a beautiful week. This episode was supposed to be out last week, but I was out of town, and just kind of you know how when you prep to go out of town, it just seems like everything gets moved by the wayside while you do that? That's kind of what happened. But it was cool because I needed it, and I'm back, and I'm really happy because this is a year's worth of episodes right here. This is episode number 52. A year ago, on this day, I just got wind that I was prepping to put out my second episode. And it's funny because I, interestingly enough, wanted to do an update on just my second episode, as well as give some kind of uplift to people who have been struggling with trying to start podcasting or YouTubing, and just kind of give you guys some encouragement. But I first am going to talk to you guys about my miscarriage updates. As you guys knew, if you have been a listener for years, if you haven't, I will link the episode below. I, last year, in the very beginning of February, the very end of January, ended up having a miscarriage, unfortunately, and it did suck, but that was my second miscarriage within the span of like 8 or 9 months or so, and so it was just really tough. Not even 8 months. I had one in August of 2019 and then one in January or the end of January, early February 2020. So very like close together and very rough for me to go through and deal with those. But I'm really happy to be here where I am right now. And if you have been a person who has struggled with miscarriage, or just any kind of pregnancy difficulties, I encourage you to go listen to my episode. I might have some I may just be a person that can connect with you to understand what you are going through. My miscarriage was due to something called a blighted ovum. And they say that it's not very common, but like the more stories I read, the more it seems like it is more common. But, you know, I'm not the analyst here who's dissecting all that information. But I just wanted to come to say an update for myself. I almost feel like listening back to that episode, I was in denial. I feel like I look back at that and I'm like, man, I was not all the way good within myself, and I was just trying. And in that episode, I was better than what I was when it initially happened, but I wasn't all that great because I was still fresh. Coming through that and coming out of that and off of a breakup from that as well. So kind of a lot happened, but I will say that as a person, I had a huge support system in my family. I'm so grateful for them. And when I say family, I don't just mean blood, like all of you who have been there for me or were there for me in any sort of way. You know who you are. Thank you. Thoughts, prayers, good vibes. There were so many things people did to try to help me overcome that situation. So I always am going to be thankful, grateful, and appreciative for that. But if you have been a person who struggled with a blighted ovum before, you know that it's something that's so confusing to actually understand 100% because there's not a lot of information about exactly what it is or why it happens. But I kind of just looked at it as the baby could never like fully form, and then it doesn't actually form 100%, but your pregnancy symptoms are still going. So it's like I'm still growing a bubble for the baby, but the baby is not there. And so you're going through this whole process of thinking that there is a kid because all the symptoms are there, but then it's not, and you don't find out until like a certain point. So this is very up in the air and very emotional. So if you are struggling with this, like, feel free to cry, feel free to let it out. I just want to look back at myself back then and give myself a hug and tell myself I love myself and tell myself that I'm going to be okay, because I think I subconsciously knew I would be okay, but there were definitely times I'd wake up not okay and not sure, how do I be okay? And I'm glad that I found that. I'm so happy that I've finally reached, to this point to be able to talk to other people who have had miscarriages, help them just understand that they're not alone. I still don't know that there's anything necessarily wrong with me. Anytime I've been to the doctor, they say that I look healthy and I look fine. So I guess I won't know until the next time I ever try, which I don't anticipate to be for a little while. But going through that situation really, really made me realize a lot of stuff about myself. It made me realize, it almost made me realize where I needed to just put my priorities as a person, where I wanted my life to go, what I wanted my life to be. And it was like a big wake up call to me. And I was not expecting that situation like it was at all. But I wouldn't be who I am right now without that situation. It really took a lot out of me as a person to still get up. I was still going to work full time, throughout that. I think I had like the weekend off and then I went back. So since I do not have that job anymore, I quit that job. And that happened you guys know, I did a episode about that a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, 2 months ago, quitting my job. And the stress that it relieved off of me and those things, I think when I look at that, it put all that into perspective for me. It made me realize like how many, days I'm really not promised, and that I gotta love the things that I'm doing and go after what I'm doing. And so it really does make it very heartfelt to be here at episode 52. I started my podcast a year ago. I wasn't really 100% certain on how I was going to do or if anybody was going to want to hear me, but it feels really great to have reached out to the amount of people that have reached out to, and to be connecting to people and actually building different connections on connections by just networking and having fun and actually trying to bring awareness to certain things, or just share, my own experiences and the things that I've been through, to let people know they're not alone, to give a different perspective, to maybe help them be less harsh on themselves even, I think when I was going through the miscarriage, I was just like, what's wrong with me? Why is my body not good enough? Like, there were so many things I thought of in my mind of like negative self-talk. And that whole situation's like, you can't talk to yourself like that, Kiah. Like, maybe it's just not your turn. I had to really, really take a moment to realize the challenge I was being faced with, which was to come through that. Because that situation was probably one of the hardest ones I'd ever had, just because emotionally it took a lot out of me. But I realized, like, man, this challenge is for me to step up to the plate and love myself anyway, whether I'm used as a vessel for, to like bring children into the world, if I'm meant to do that, if that's part of my path through God, or whether that's not part of my path and I'm meant to lead or help or do or nurture in other ways. And I really, really, really had to come to make peace with that part of it. And I think me personally going within for my own faith and taking time to meditate, using my spiritual practices, even sleeping, taking the time to just rest really helped me to come to terms with that in a healthy way, like not looking at it as, well, I guess this will just have to do. Like, no, there's plenty of ways that I am going to be able to contribute to society. Giving children is not going to be the only one. I have to embrace what my path is and what I'm meant to give back into the world. And I just felt over time, I finally stepped into that power versus allowing my negative self-talk to have power and control over me. Because my mind can get filled with that in like a constant loop. And I'm like, no, go away. Don't want to hear you today. Negative. But yeah, going through that and not even just going through that, but actually coming on cam and telling y'all, like, this is what I've dealt with. This is what's happened to me. Is there anybody else? Like, the amount of people who were like, Kiah, girl, you ain't alone. It made it just like, you realize like there's so many more people that you can help support that can help support you. Like, it's just like this big reciprocated circle of love and support to people and to the community who have been dealing with those things. And I haven't talked about it too much just because I know as a person, I have really tried to work to heal from that and my own negative self-talk in that situation. But now here today, I'm not saying I'm perfect or healed 100% or not, because, you know, your girl get a little emotional here and there, but I definitely feel better than I did a year ago. I feel so much more in control of myself and in control of my destiny and in control of my peace than I have ever since I was a kid, in that long. It just feels so good now. I feel so free as a person. I feel so like liberated to just live life, because I've embraced that. Like, whatever my life is meant to be, I'm just gonna like welcome that energy in and like rock with it and rock it out the best I can. And like spread my love and encourage people to do the same with the path that they're given. You know what I mean? So with that being said, let's kind of shift into more positivity. I did want to talk about starting my podcast. That episode, again, was episode 2. I will link it down below for you guys to listen to it. Yeah, just so you guys can kind of help me bring in this full circle. Happy 1 year of podcasting, Kiah. 1 year's worth of episodes, 11, as I said that. But, podcasting is so much fun. Podcasting / YouTube. I also have like an old makeup channel. If anyone never knew, I used to like toggle. I don't even want to say used to. I still love to do my own makeup, like just as a person. But I think I just got so nervous way back when about like makeup and like actually putting myself out there. There's some videos, but I have a little channel. It's not super active. I actually use that channel to watch like my own personal, like my time videos, you know what I'm saying, when I'm chilling. But so I'm not necessarily new to YouTubing. I had a makeup channel maybe 4 years ago. Funny enough, you guys can still go follow it. I'll link it so you guys can see it, but you just if you want to see what I was doing, you can go see what I was doing. But I haven't really been pushing it, but I do love and enjoy like getting cute makeup, especially after the confidence that I have recently stepped into within myself and the self-love I stepped into. YouTubing and talking to people through podcasting has been something that has been a game changer for me as a person. It is something that I didn't know that I was going to love as much as I love it until I was doing it really consistently. And putting out episodes week to week was something that I really wanted to stay consistent for you guys. There's some weeks I haven't, but there's other weeks I've done 2 or 3 episodes. So it just depends. I appreciate all your Apple reviews, all of your comments that you have left, anybody's personal feedback, anybody's shares, likes, word of mouth. You have no idea. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. But if you're contemplating, how do I get started? What do I do? Don't nobody want to hear me? If like that's all stuff going through your head, 1, you're not alone. I was there too. It's very nerve-wracking and confusing to like try to put it together. But you got to do what works for you. Some people are just going to cut the mic and start popping. Some people got to plan it and put it together. You got to think about how you best deliver your message and then just get out there and say what you're going to say. Don't worry about the market being saturated. Don't worry about you feeling like no one wants to hear you. Just put you out there in the most genuine way that you can, because people will love you. People who rock with you, people who resonate with you will find you and they will like you, and it will take time. I'm only a year in, and I feel like one of the biggest things I've had to learn is like slow building into something and having that consistency day to day and week to week to deliver content and material to your audience, because this is what, you're here. I love to share in my testimony and bring you guys different perspectives and talk to you about different things I'm going through, because I hope that it does help you. I hope that you gain something, or that you can share something with me and I can gain something, because I'm receptive too. I want to have things. I want to interact with all of you. So if you're nervous, don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Do be nervous, whichever one, but just do it. Just get started. Create your YouTube channel. Pull your phone out. I'm on my phone recording right now. I don't have anything. I record all my episodes on my iPad. It's an iPad mini I bought My first episodes didn't even have video because I was so scared to put myself on cam for everybody to see me. I was nervous. I was not ready. But eventually I got to that point and things started to really get better and better, and I started to connect with more and more people, and it really does give you that excitement. It's thrilling. I've had to learn to love the ebb and flow. And I'm going to do another episode or another chit chat about that because it's something I talked about on Twitter that I feel like I should talk about on here. So maybe next week I'll talk about the ebb and flow and being more diligent in what I'm doing, a little bit more depth. But I look at how this journey has transformed for me into finding more loves and more things that I love about myself and helping me actually adjust things that I need to adjust within myself as a person. This has been like one of the best things I could do for me. And it all started with me just saying, I'm going to do a podcast. I'd been wanting to podcast for a long time. I wanted to do a podcast before I started a makeup channel. Like that, just tell you guys how long I sat with the thought of it because I thought about, I talk about this or I'll talk about that. No, I eventually got on here and just started talking about what the hell I wanted to talk about. And I feel like I have just been grateful to have an audience that I do connect with every week. So thank you guys. Thank you guys. Podcasting specifically, if you're just wanting to get on and chat and you're not wanting to be on cam on YouTube too, because I do film these and then I strip the audio and upload it to my podcasting stations to make it easier. Because I know a lot of people like to actually visually look at me. You guys should check out the Anchor app. That app is amazing. It has a lot of great features on it for you to utilize if you're getting started and you're not really sure, like, how do I even put my podcast together? If you're not tech savvy, I wish I could find it on here. I think my iPad's dead, but you go to Anchor app in the iOS or Google Play Store, whichever you're on, and then you can create your name for your podcast and you can start to dive into what you want your content to be. You can record there, you can edit there. There's like a slew of really amazing ways that you can make your podcast your own. There's like intro music, outro music, is everything. I don't use all of those portions on Anchor. I use other elements, but I just want to give you guys encouragement to just get started. You know what I mean? You don't have to have all the fancy equipment. I just use little other apps. But as you guys get into it, you'll know where you want to grow, where you want to invest more money, what you want to invest more money on, or if you even want to actually continue it, after you've done it for, a couple of months. But I would say get started. Go now because time doesn't stop for anybody, and whatever you are wasting your time not doing now, it's still going to be there to decide for you to do later, So please make sure that you guys are following your dreams, going after what you want very intently and purposefully. I've really been incorporating a lot of those actionable practices into, what I've been doing. And I noticed that while I've been podcasting, one of my biggest things has been to be vocal about what I want or what I need and what I'm looking for. And I felt like once I've actually been able to let my guard down, ask for help, speak out, talk about the things I need, talk about my vulnerabilities, I feel like I've gotten a lot more opportunity, and I feel like I've gotten a lot more understanding from others in being able to speak my truth, because I then don't allow other people to use it against me. And this podcast has been a light for me to do that. I can come here and speak my truth and talk about it and not feel judged for it, because at the end of the day, like I before I get here, I feel like I do a lot of internal work to try to get a little more comfortable. And even when I'm not, getting on here talking about it makes me more comfortable. Like it automatically opens up my throat chakra and makes me just that more vulnerable. And then sometimes there's things that I'm embarrassed about that other people are like, why would you be embarrassed about that? You ain't the only one. And I'm like, I'm not alone. But it's nice to know you're not alone in this world. We go through so much stuff, and we can all be like secretive people, or I don't even want to say secretive, but like everybody has their own autonomy or like things they keep to themselves. And so when we have our experiences, sometimes we don't 100% know like who are other people going through this, like I'm going through this. There's societal pressures and different things. And it just makes me feel good when I can come out here and not worry about any of that and just spill it. And hey, this is me. I'm looking for, connection with others. And I think a lot of times whenever I talk about some of those things, I can reach people who have been looking for that information. So if you're a person who feels like you have something to say, hop on your podcast ASAP and start talking about it. Don't wait. Just see. You know what I mean? I encourage everybody. We're about 21 minutes in. Go download the Anchor app, or not even Anchor, but I'm a big person who encourages you to do your own research. Just poke around online and see what websites really work for you that you would like to use to host your podcast, and then start to put your episode together. Figure out, do you want to be solo or a duo or a trio or a group? Take your time and really figure out like what you would like to produce as content outward to people. Or to your audience. And once you've done that, I feel like you guys will skyrocket if you have a lot of love for what you're doing. I didn't really make it my mission to come on and I do know my goal. One of my goals is to eventually become, monetized through YouTube, through their program, and become partner and things like that. But I didn't do this particular podcast in order to get like trillions of subscribers. My thought process was I would like to help people. Now, obviously, I want to be successful helping people and reaching people, so that comes into play, but that's not the sole reason. Make sure that you're doing what you're doing in order to assist others, to offer some level of value, even if you're not actually avidly assisting people, whatever you're doing. I look at makeup videos that way. You're helping a lot of, makeup helped me learn a new skill. You know what I'm saying? So you never know. You never know what putting your skill or your special thing out there does for the next person. We all call YouTube University for a reason. And I'm sure podcasting arenas who are listening to me understand that too, because audibly, how many times are we listening to some of these podcasts and we're gaining a lot of knowledge or a lot of wisdom from some of these people who are coming on telling their stories. So I appreciate all guests who have been a part of my podcast. My father for being on my first episode ever with me. Thank you so much for not having me take that big old leap and journey alone. Because it was a leap for me, but I appreciate him. My older brother, my little brother, my mom, just people in my family for always being mad supportive. And even if you aren't supported, support yourself, okay? Focus on the people in the room. Focus on the one person that gave you them props for what you said, and you grow that and you keep going. Don't let anybody try to dog you out. I've had negative comments and all kind of stuff. Pay zero attention, because a lot of times people are coming very negative, and it's like I try to embrace it with a positive light, because everybody's not going to like our stuff, and we can't get focused on that when there's so many people who do love what you're doing or are going to love what you're talking about. So if you're here at this point in the video and you feel me, make sure that you leave a like and a subscribe and drop me a comment. I appreciate all of you for listening. If you're new here and you've just found my video, hi, welcome. Make sure you check out a lot of my content. I do plenty of different things, and I have so much more in store for all of you. Make sure you follow me on social media. If you're looking for personal tarot card readings, hit me up. I also do those too. I have live readings for $40 where you can schedule a specific time slot and we can do it live, as well as standard personal readings that are $10, and they are up to a 3-day hold time. So if you guys are interested in that type of content, reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to help you guys out with all of your tarot spiritualesque needs. Okay, I'll talk to your beautiful faces later. Bye.